Sorry, I'm a little sick. Ugh, Christmas time cold. Hello, Phantom friends. It's Emily, your resident little Lottie. Today, we're gonna kick things off with story time with Emily, i.e. my journey through my obsession. So sit down and get comfortable because it's a little bit of a doozy. Now, a lot of people, when they tell you about how they first discovered Phantom, it's usually some beautiful Hallmark tale about their parents taking them to go see the musical when they were young, or being given some sort of significant memorabilia, or their mom would sing them to sleep with music of the night. That ain't how it happened with me. My story is kind of fucking hilarious and a little less refined. So let's rewind in time here. It's 1996, and Phantom is going on its US tour. I was like 5 at the time. Now, I didn't know the first thing about Phantom of the Opera, because I was 5. But my parents went to go see it when it came here to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes, we have theaters in Oklahoma. Just put that out there. We're cultured too. Anyway, my parents have gone to see it. They're finally coming home. Little did I know, my first exposure to Phantom would happen right in that moment. What was my first exposure? My mother, as she walks in the door, proceeds to burst out singing, "Past the point of no return!" Over and over. This lasted for at least a week, that one line. Fast forward another couple of years when the PBS TV show Wishbone was in its prime. Anyone else remember Wishbone? Or am I just getting really f***ing old? Well, my second exposure to Phantom wasn't one I distinctly remembered until I was deep into my obsession several years later. But it was the episode of Wishbone where they covered Gaston Leroux's original novel of Phantom. And my god, the selective memories that I had from that. I had honestly forgotten that the episode even existed. But I remembered little fragments of it, like Christine falling through the trap door and Raoul, Wishbone, jumping in to save her. Like, do you ever have those moments where you're just like little fragmented memories of something and you're just like, what was that? What was it from? That was me. But when I finally did remember and I watched it back as an adult, oh man, the absolute cringe. It's so bad. Trust me, a review will be done on this channel. But even with my limited memories of it, it was the first time in my life I'd ever had a woke moment. It's just like, damn, what would you do if you had to choose between marrying an ugly guy or he'd kill your boyfriend? And what about the ugly guy? What's his story? You know, what made this happen? Just a PSA, I'm more pro-Eric than you can possibly imagine, and I think he's beautiful. I was 7, alright. I just remember being like, whoa. So after that, Phantom fades from my memory pretty much entirely for like 6 or 7 years. I'm like 13 now, and Miss Preppy Blonde Abercrombie & Fitch wearing cheerleader. Yes, I said cheerleader. Had no interest whatsoever in theater because I was too busy trying to fit in. This was 2004, and the Phantom movie had just come out on DVD. Yes, for me, it started with the movie. Spare me your judgments. Now, this is where I really start to show my age. My mom had rented it and was just about to take it back to Blockbuster. Have you noticed a theme yet where it's my mother that instigates the Phantom shenanigans? She's to blame. But she's literally walking out the door to return it and stops and says, "Emily, you should watch this. You might like it." Let us have a moment of silence for that fateful phrase and everyone who has been affected by it. Again, I had no interest in theater at this point. Because this was a time in my life when I would have thought that theater was stupid, and so the fact that I did sit down and watch it kind of amazes me. Now you're probably thinking, Oh, this is the point where she has the magical revelation, and she knows she's gonna love it forever. Wrong. I get through it. I liked it. I was thoroughly shocked by the ending because, you know, isn't the girl always supposed to find true beauty and the underdog wins in generic romance movies? This was at least when I realized that Phantom was not a generic love story. But otherwise, it was just like watching any other movie. However, one thing my mom did say while we were watching it, it's always kind of stuck with me. She said, you know, I could really see you playing her one day. Now, since I didn't really even sing at the time, let alone act, it just seems like kind of a strange thing to say, and to this day, you know, pretty much out of nowhere, I don't exactly know what made her say it. Anyway, so the next few days continue without incident, pretty normal, except now I have all the songs stuck in my head. You know how when you have a song stuck in your head and you just have to listen to it or it's not going anywhere? That's where I was at. So I remember this day very clearly. This was the aha moment that changed my life. I was sitting in my room. I put the DVD in, watching it again, really just for the sake of getting the damn songs out of my head. But then, as I'm watching, I'm just finding myself more and more engrossed. Way more than the first time. It was right in the middle of Think of Me, when all of a sudden I had this revelation that was just like a brick to the face. I thought, in these exact words, oh God, I think I'm about to get really obsessed with this. Another moment of silence. But the funny thing is, I knew immediately, and I knew immediately what the extent of my obsession would be. I knew this was about to become my life. And I just remember silently asking myself, am I really ready for this to become my whole identity? Because I knew the direction this was heading. And my immediate answer to myself was, screw it. Yes, you are. This was the moment I no longer cared about fitting in and was determined to break away. From that point on, the obsession hit fast and hard, as anybody of my life at the time could attest to. I started watching it obsessively, I was singing it all the time, created cosplay, ranted my opinions constantly, and I decided it was now my life goal to play Christine. I mean, I went ham. I got into the advanced drama class at school, got into choir, I started taking private voice lessons, all in preparation for the day when I would someday, in theory, audition for Phantom. Now, I consider myself a method actress, and let me tell you, thank God I am, or else I might be still singing like a limping sparrow trying to imitate Emmy Rossum. The next step in my journey was when I made the decision to audition for the youth chorus of my local opera company. I made that decision not because I thought I liked opera or really wanted a career in it, but because I wanted to immerse myself in Christine's world of acting. And here's just how green and oblivious I was back then. I didn't know Phantom wasn't an opera. Like, I kind of knew, but I hadn't fully grasped the concept yet. Like, I knew it was a musical, but it just hadn't fully processed. So do you want to know what I auditioned for that opera company with? F***ing Think of Me. And I got in. By some miracle of Christ, I got into the Tulsa Youth Opera auditioning with Think of Me. Remains, I don't care how young I was, it remains one of my most embarrassing theater stories to date. You don't audition for anything with Phantom of the Opera music, especially not a legit opera company. But regardless, I was in, and it was through working with that company that I was exposed to real singing. Boy, what a wake-up call. And it's where I fell completely in love with the operatic voice. I ended up being able to participate in several full-length operas alongside the adult ensemble. I started training privately under the director of the youth choir, and boy, did my voice go in a different direction. and quickly. He was a massive perfectionist, could be a total slave driver, and quite scary sometimes, to be perfectly honest. But he was good at what he did, and he had a very strong sense of who I was as a singer and how to approach his training with me. He was the first person to ever make me realize I get bored if I'm not pushed enough. So he challenged me constantly. Let me try out arias, once that were honestly way beyond my years. But of course, he didn't want me to ruin my voice, so, we didn't commit to any of them. But it worked. It kept me engaged, and I was focused, and I knew that on top of musical theater, I wanted to pursue a career as a professional opera singer. But my love for Phantom still reigned supreme, and when I said that it became my life, you have no idea. Within a year, I was branded the notorious Phantom of the Opera girl in high school. People immediately associated me with it, and it did not make me popular. But by this point, I had stopped caring. I went from preppy cheerleader trying to fit in to screw the world full-blown goth. I dyed my hair black, dressed like I was raiding Amy Lee's closet. It was pretty awesome. And I was way happier that way. Phantom gave me the courage to be myself and not give a shit if anyone else likes it. So I make no apologies for my happiness. I'm a Phantom fan and always will be. And there you have it. My initial Phantom of the Opera journey story. I may do a part 2 on this and elaborate on a couple of things, but we'll see. Like maybe my later years of high school. Please leave in the comments how you discovered Phantom and who introduced you to it. I would love to hear your stories. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell to keep updated with all of my crazy Phantom content. Stay fantastic with a PH, and remember to keep your hand at the level of your eyes. Bye!